Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today we're here to check out a set of headphones. These are the PadMate Pamu Slide Mini. PadMate sent these to me to test out, so these are not purchased. This is something that they did indeed send, so I just want to say that up front. And I decided to get them in this green color because it just seemed something different. If you are curious, you can get these in black, white, pink, and of course this green. A few features about these is that they do feature Bluetooth 5.0, and they're also rocking the Qualcomm aptX technology, which is common in some of the nicer headphones that you can get. It is worth noting that they are a closed fit design, and in fact they come with 6 different silicone tips to get a comfortable fit, which is a really nice feature. That's a lot of tips. The whole design is protected with an IPX6 water-resistant coating, and they sport a 30-hour battery life with the battery in the case. For those of you that are concerned about charge time, 5 minutes of charge will get you 1 hour of use, and it's about 1.5 hours to a full charge. You've got a 400 milliamp battery in the main carrying case, and you have 85 milliamps between the headphones. Last thing I want to mention is that you do have USB Type-C charging, but you've also got wireless charging as well, which is really nice. I think that's a feature that you're going to see on a lot more of these headphones. So let's go ahead and quickly unbox these. We have a slip there with a magnetic case, and it says that these need to essentially probably be charged. We'll just pull down this little flap and, this comes right out. That works too. And we'll take a look first at these earbuds. So like I said, they are large. They're not what I would call small, but that's okay. We're hiding a large battery in there, so hopefully that makes up for it. So we'll just take those and place them off to the side. And our charging case is, it's a respectable size. It's a little bit bigger than some that I've seen. But of course, it does have wireless charging in there, and that needs to be nice and deep to make sure that it can hold the actual earpods. One thing that is worth noting is that there is an indicator light on the front that shows how much charge is actually remaining in the battery inside here. And of course, you have indicator lights on each of the earpods that tell you when it's charging and presumably when it's fully charged. And I have to say, this case is very well built. This feels very rock solid. Probably one of the nicer charging cases that I have seen so far. There's no real flex or wiggle or wobble, and the plastic feels like it's pretty good tier. While that is charging up, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we've got everything out of the box, and I don't think we've got everything out of the box quite yet. And inside here we have many things. We've got our different tips, so it's S plus, medium, and large, and unlabeled. This tells you all the different sizes. So small, medium, and large sized ear cups are for default use. And the S plus, M plus, and L plus are designed for extra deep when needed, so they might just allow it to go a little further in your ear. We do have ourselves a little manual. It's pretty straightforward stuff. How to power on and pair the earphones, how to wear them if you couldn't figure that out. Don't try to use a Q-tip. The touch controls. Now this is something that I'm curious to see how it's going to work out, because the touch controls will entirely depend on which earphone you are touching. So tapping once on either one is pause, play, or accept call. Tapping twice on the left one is your assistant or call reject. Tapping twice on the right one is next song or call reject. So that's one of the interesting things I'm not 100% positive on just at first blush, is the fact that there are different controls depending on which one of these you're tapping. I'm imagining a scenario where your head's here and you're trying to do something like volume up and volume down. Well, that's actually a long press on opposite ends of the earbud. So the stock here is where that touch occurs, but it doesn't differentiate between which part is being touched. So if you're adjusting your volume, you're going to be tapping each side of your head, and I'm not going to lie, the concept of that sounds very weird and alien to me. We'll see how it works out in practice. I think that's pretty much all the basics of what you need to know out of the box. It does show wireless charging, how to shut down and charge, which is like close the case. It's pretty straightforward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so these need to charge, and once they're charged, I'm going to go ahead and pair them, and I'm going to use them for the remainder of this week. And I'm in some pretty loud environments, so I'm pretty curious to see how these will handle noise cancellation, essentially, and how I feel about the tapping system that they've chosen to implement. So what you'll see now is a cut, and then after that cut, things will look pretty different because I'll have some more information for you before I close the video off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I have now used these for about a week, and I have to say, I am actually impressed. I thought that when these arrived, I'm like, okay, they've got some cute features, but it'll probably just be another set of wireless headphones. And there are some ways where that's true, and there are other places where these have truly distinguished themselves above other headphones that I've tried. So let's get the not so great stuff out of the way, and then we'll finish off on a high note because I think that's what these really deserve. So there is no in-ear detection, which is kind of unfortunate. So when you remove these from your ear, if they're still playing music, unless you return them to the case, they'll continue to play. So just be aware of that. That was one thing that I have had in other headsets that I've really enjoyed. When they were removed, I knew that they were going to be okay. In terms of the touch functionality, I didn't have any concerns where I was like batting the sides of my head like I originally thought. I think part of that has to do with I have so many different ways to control these on my phone or on my watch that I was rarely needing to touch my ears in the first place. But that is the touch sensitivity. So I would say above this blinking light here is where you've got the sweet spot. Anywhere else on the stock, there is no touch sensitivity at all. I would say 80% of the time it's reading my double press, but occasionally it'll read it as a single press and pause the track, and I have to listen for a second to see if that's just the introduction of the next track or if it's actually paused. So that's just one thing to be aware of. Another very small thing that I would barely even mention is that removal from the case is not exactly what I would call a super easy affair, but let's be honest, if this is one of the worst things that I can say about these, then that's not really a bad thing at all. Putting them in is easy enough. So I've gotten into the habit of removing the right ear first because that is one that is dependent on the left. The left one is kind of the main one. If you pull the right one out, put it in, and then you go ahead and remove the left one and then put it in, you have perfect pairing every single time. I did have some weird instance where I would pull the left one out first and it sometimes wouldn't pair with the right, but I just got in the habit of doing that and all is good. The LED on the front there indicating battery charge is absolutely fantastic. I don't need an app or anything to know what my battery life is at. But conversely, I can't believe I'm saying this, having a way to program or customize the presses of the touch sensitivity and all of that good stuff would actually be kind of nice to have, I have to admit. Let's finish on the high note because I think this is what people are really going to care about anyway. First off, these are incredibly comfortable. No question about it. If they have so many different tip sizes in the box, you really have nothing to worry about in terms of their fit. It's just really, really good. The bass I actually was quite impressed with. It is certainly present, it's not overpowering, and it's about what you would expect for a headphone this size. So if you do like a little bit of bass, but nothing too crazy, you're not going to be disappointed by these. One thing that I will certainly say, and this is what impressed me the most about these, is sound cancellation. Wow. So one of the places that I used these on was actually the train, and the train is loud. There's a whole bunch of electric whirring, the clunking of tracks, not too many people talking, but just definitely a lot of mechanical noise, and nothing. I just didn't hear any of that interrupting the music. There was practically no bleed through. When I am listening to these, I can just barely hear myself snapping my fingers as hard as I can. And if I'm listening to a nice, good track with lots of heavy beats and a good tempo like I normally do, can't hear myself snap my own fingers. And that, I think, is a pretty good indicator, although a bit subjective, on just how good these are at actually canceling out sound. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, if you can find these at a good price, then I would say that this is probably a pretty safe little bet. If you don't mind a slightly larger charging case than some options and just slightly larger headphones in general, but you gain a lot. You gain a lot of battery life, you gain a lot of like physical security that these aren't going to fall out of your ear anytime soon during, high performance activity, then I think it's a pretty safe bet in the whole sea of earbuds if you're looking for good value for money. At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed my quick look at these headphones. They've certainly done a pretty admirable job, especially at the price point. If you want to see other content like this, I would encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time I feature some awesome electronics like this, you'll be the first to know about it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.